Hey everyone, how's it going?
Yeah, good morning.
A
Morning.
lot of beautiful, lively faces this morning for you guys.
Morning, evening.
It's evening for John and I, but all the others, the other three, they're just they're just rolling out of bed, right?
Yeah,
It's
it's
so
early for me,
brutal.
but it's fine.
What you do for the hobby, that's what we always say, right, John?
Absolutely.
Yes.
The people in the hobby. I have never modeled at 5 in the morning.
Oh, I have. I've gotten up in
Unpaid.
the middle of the night at 3 a.m. because there's something on my mind that I want to get done.
God, I've done so many all-nighters, and I remember on Star Trek First Contact, we were trying to get the Enterprise finished, and we were screwed. And we came in on a Thursday. I think there were 4 of us that came in on a Thursday, and we didn't leave again until Monday morning. And
Oh,
I think I got maybe 2 hours sleep during that. And it was funny because we got to Monday morning at like 2, and we're starting to put the darker accent panels on the Enterprise. And that model's 10 feet long. I said, everybody slow down for a minute. Stop. Think about this. You're going to be looking at this on Christmas ornaments and placemats and God knows what else. So try and really think about what you're doing. I know everybody's completely sleep deprived. And
Horrible.
and it was funny because our laser cutter had caught on fire. And so there's a lot of stuff that we were going to do that we couldn't do. And I didn't have a deflector dish. And I had the deflector dish from the Excelsior that was from Star Trek 3. And we rebuilt it as the Enterprise B on Generations. So I still have the sensor dish. It was in my toolbox. And I took it and I threw it to Brian Dewey across the room as a machinist. I said, turn that thing down till it goes in that hole. And so that's what went in there. And for that one set of PR shots, there's a blue sensor dish on the Enterprise E. And that was the only time it was ever there. So
Yeah, there's probably a whole bunch of Star Trekkies like wondering why it's blue and changing their builds to match.
Yeah, I got a request. Somebody wrote me like, so why are the pictures where it's blue? I'm like, I can tell you why. And it was funny because the ship, it wasn't done. And they shot the poster stuff for it, and they shot it from the back, and there were these shuttle bays. There were just holes in the model. You could see the neons. So on the poster, they had the Enterprise rocketing away from the Borg cube with these big holes in the back of the light coming out. There wasn't any model in those parts. So, and it changed over the course of it changed. Chronologically, it sprouted docking ports back behind the bridge. In the second shot, in the third shot, the tops of the engines changed. So it was changing as the movie was going along. It was sort of growing, getting more pieces.
Because of your holes?
No, it's just stuff that we weren't done with. You know.
Oh, okay.
We
So
started shooting.
it's just the Borg editions, right? We're slowly taking over the ship. Yeah.
Desperate times. Wrong franchise though. Sorry.
Totally different. You guys jumped into the wrong
Yeah, everybody's signing out.
everybody's like,
distraction.
screw this. We thought we were talking about Slave One. They're all talking about Enterprise. I'm out of here. So but yeah, so this is the second part in our series. As if you haven't seen the first one, we're going to pick a ship and kind of give as much history as we know, and start from concept and how it was thought how to build it. And luckily so far we've been able to have 2, like with the TIE Bomber, we had John's build going on at the time with kit parts, and this time we have Felix for his Slave One build. There's actually, Felix, I think you're the only one working on Slave One right now.
Other than maybe Eric.
Yeah, Eric, but he kind of slowed down. He slows down, and then somebody else will jump on, and John and I are going to jump on it very soon. As soon as I get this Sandcrawler painted, by the way, then I'm going to jump on this Slave One. But we actually have a lot of build pictures with kit parts, so we can kind of show what that looks like as well. So yeah, this is going to be a fun series of videos. So and you guys all have to get up early. I'm sorry, but you just have to. There's no way around it. So
it's a fun start in the day. So.
It is. Yes. Go to work after this, right? You guys go. Yeah, you guys all go to work then after this.
Yeah.
First, before we get started, I want to just highlight yet again my friend Aaron and his awesome work on our thumbnails. He has blown it out of the water, and again made. That's your build on the front there, Felix. But on the back we have some ref picture that he integrated together, and I love it. I think it's
Nice.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Very nice
he did
design.
a fantastic job, and I just want to give him lots of credit for that. But let's dive into this puppy.
Chris,
Yes.
before we start, can we just take a short moment to just be in awe of this ship's design?
Yes.
Before this happens, Star Wars set up like this, and Battlestar Galactica set up this whole new way of like looking at starships being raggedy old ships, but they were still mostly very squarish, flat-sided, boxy type of designs, or at least let's call it very primary shapes, like a sphere, like a box, And then you get to Empire, and you see this ship with it's like eggy design. The fact that it lands on its back, for God's sakes. It still has the Star Wars type of painting style, but then colorful for some reason. I mean, we're all used to it, but I can't imagine just seeing that in Empire in 1980 for the first time. It must have been like, Jesus, what is this?
Well, and a lot of the original New Hope ships were, like you said, boxy and flat panels. And even in the beginning of Empire, you have the AT-ATs and the snow speeders. They're all. It isn't until we get to like Bespin and where you have the cloud cars and this that have
cloud car. I was about to say the cloud car as well.
Yeah, way different shapes than we've come across in the beginning.
Art Deco.
Yeah, it's very Art Deco. Yeah,
and I wonder, like I still always wonder, where did it? I don't know. I've heard that somebody got it off of a lampshade, but I've also heard that that's not true as well.
Well, it's kind of weird because the street lights that led up Lucas Valley Road, they look exactly like it. I mean, exactly like it. And they were there for years. They've been replaced now with LED, but they look exactly like it. So could be a connection there. They'd be driving up to the ranch to have art reviews, and these street lights were all up that road. So
it looks too close for a coincidence, doesn't it?
It's really close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I had found a picture of that. I don't have a picture of that.
It is one of those like urban myths, right? Because I've heard that story, but I've also seen a picture of actually just like a desk lamp at ILM that had this type of shape as well.
Yeah.
Well, apparently it was a lampy shade, a shape that was around for outside lights, street lights, but also for desk lamps. Yeah, you never know if it didn't at least inspired some kind of shape theory in the background. Yeah.
If you guys can see it.
Let me put you.
I've sent it to you.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Wow, that is so spot on.
Pretty similar.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that really is.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going with that. I'm going with it. Like, to me, that's canon. So, yeah. So was it originally? Does anybody know? Was it originally designed by Joe Johnston, or was it a case of, they took this, Ralph McQuarrie drew this up, and then they went from this to something more mechanical looking? Does anybody have any clue on that?
It's always the way, isn't it? It's the chicken before the egg. We don't know which.
Yeah.
Because that looks. There is some black and white sketches, isn't there, with it more round like that?
Yeah, I have a whole bunch of Joe Johnston sketches.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a bunch of, it basically has pretty much the exact same shape, but a lot of things change here and there about it.
These are much more developed than
than just like sketches.
Dimensions seem to be closer to the light. If you go back to the one before.
This one.
Yeah, this looks no one back. This looks like the main body and the skirt looks similar to the lamp
Spot on. Yeah.
than it is later on.
Oh, it says here that Slave One was Nilo Rota's design.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it says Nilo said it always. It says Slave One was Nilo Rota's design. It always looked like a street light to me, or steam iron to me. But Nilo said, "Well, I took it from a street lamp."
Oh,
Okay.
interesting.
There you go.
There it is.
That's the more round one I was thinking of.
Well, that's why we do these shows. So we have 5 people with different, finding out exactly what really happened.
Who sketches
what?
that, Chris? That one?
I don't know.
Because that top left one looks like Ralph McQuarrie's.
Yeah, that looks like Ralph McQuarrie's. A lot of this looks like Ralph McQuarrie. Even this has Ralph McQuarrie elements to it, and this is his like Snow Trooper.
Yeah.
Yeah, this looks more Ralph.
But the bottom left has a signature.
No, that just says landing
No, further
down.
down.
Go
Further
down.
down.
Further down.
Further
down here.
Left.
left.
You go to the left.
That's
That's
right.
Oh, God.
I lost it. Bot, come on, man. Doing me here. It's my first time doing a show. Down here, you mean?
Oh, that?
Yeah.
What is that?
I don't. It's illegible. Can't see it very well in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this one I don't think is about the design itself. Here they're just experimenting with like engine formation. This is exploratory sketches, I think.
But they really like the shape of the lamppost, so they pretty much kept that
Yeah.
from beginning to end.
But there's there's one Joe Johnson sketch a minute ago that you just showed that you can quite clearly see there's like the 8-rad part on it.
Is it
In the wing and in the ring there.
Yeah, right there.
That's the point.
And now what are the chances that Lorne or whoever put it together found that part that looked like that? Or was that a sketch done later to show how the wings could move before they put the wings on?
They had to have had the part in front of them and used it.
I think we sometimes think, but maybe John, you can correct me on this, but we often think very linearly, right? Like there was this mad concept, and then somebody sat down and really designed it, like all the details out, and then somebody started building. But I think most likely what happens is like they have a major sketch, somebody starts building it, and they say, I'm kind of finding it hard to figure out this wing detail. I have this part, but how to integrate it. And then it goes back to some of the designers, and they do some exploratory sketches to find out exactly what the detail is. So it's probably much more of a back and forth, I would think, at that time at least.
That happened plenty of times where we'd be building a concept model and Doug would come in and take a picture of it or whatever, or take a sketch and work from what we had, and then he would draw it.
Yeah.
So it could be that where they're like, we got this far and we're not sure what the rest of it looks like. Can you show us and do a drawing for it? I did that on Galaxy Quest for about 7 months. I just did concept designs, and I had a ball. And the model shop would go, hey, what does this piece look like on the back of this engine? I just go draw it, and it was amazing watching everybody would build it. It was really cool.
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. Yeah.
This one's a cool design. I like this. It's a little bit more futuristic.
Like industrial.
Yeah. Less beaten up,
Yeah, and even more detail in the recesses. This almost has like a little bit more of a June feeling to it for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Kind of like Sid Meadish too.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
See, John, you said you didn't know if you can contribute anything.
Yeah, there you go. That was it.
Now you can sit back and just enjoy.
To give a little backstory to that, like I wrote in a message that we were going to do Slave One. He's like, I don't really know if I can contribute much to it, and then, there was other things, but I'm like thinking to myself, you probably contribute a lot more than we can about this. So, yeah. But I mean, I have a hard time telling some of these sketches apart. Like this.
So, with that particular, sorry to interrupt,
No,
Chris.
I was hoping you would.
The bottom of that wing, they almost look like they're joined together.
Yeah, here.
Yeah.
And there was that maquette made that that's in the original Chronicles book, that's just in sort of grey primer, that has the wings that look like they're connected underneath. I don't know if I sent that picture to you last
I
night.
have it. Yeah. Once we get through the concept pictures,
Yeah.
I'm going to go through those.
When we get to that, we'll have to have a look. But I do like that design, actually, that have it
I
connected.
really do too. This is almost more like Django Fett's ship, almost. Yeah, these concept pictures. I mean, I think I'm missing some too. I know there's a lot more Joe Johnson. Is this a Joe Johnson sketch?
I think
I don't know,
so.
but I'm really liking the look of it in just black and white without the. I mean, obviously the paint job on it is one of my most favourite paint jobs in all of the Star Wars ships. But having this almost metallic finish to it looks fantastic.
It's funny, when I built the Razor Crest, I sheeted the whole thing in aluminum, and when it was first done, it was like chrome. It looked so cool. It had no scale, but it looked so cool.
Yeah.
And we took it out to shoot it, pointed a stage light at it, and holy Christ, man! It looked like the edge of the sun, but it was so beautiful. So I could see doing that to this. It would be just stunning.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Does the Razor Crest kind of almost reminds me of Slave One a little bit? It's like, it's like a cargo hauler more so than, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think that's why a lot of people like the Razor Crest even more so, because, it's a cool ship in Star Wars. I think it reminds you a lot of Slave One.
Well, it's funny because I was working on episode 9 doing some concept models for that, and they weren't giving me much direction. They're like, a spice smuggler ship, and I'm like, okay. So I made this little maquette, and I built it and had 2 engines, and I took it and showed Doug. He goes, don't show that to anybody. I said, why? He goes, it's a Razor Crest. I said, what the hell's a Razor Crest? I didn't know what he's talking about. But it's sort of like the lowest common denominator, kind of, in a way. It was like, I built the same thing they've designed, and they were so secretive. I'm like, what about this? And they're like, what the hell is that? Don't ever show anybody. So it was kind of interesting. I didn't know what he's talking about. But
That's
it's
funny.
the same basic thing. Well, it's always, to me, that it always strikes me, it's like an RV. I mean, it's like his SUV, his space going SUV. That's what they both got, from bounty hunting.
Yeah, it might be a little bit disrespectful to say, but I like the ship, but it also kind of reminds me of what Lone Star's space Winnebago. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is basically a box with like these wings and then these engines on the wings, right? It's
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like the Airstream version of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Felix, you've got one of them.
Let me make it big before you go there. Hold on. Put it back.
I don't know. Doesn't really.
Oh, wow.
It's just so massive. It's hard to put in frame.
Yep.
Wow.
Don't wreck it for the video.
Yeah, we were lucky enough to get our eyes on that, which I will show later. But this is the Joe Johnson sketch. He signed it in the bottom here. So
Yeah.
tell me I'm going to tell some of these apart. But let's go to building it. Where do I have those? There they are. So let me just bring this up. There we go. So I think this went through a lot of different, because it went through a lot of changes, didn't it? As they were building it, because these pipes here are not on it. And I often wonder why they took those off, because it's very plain as day that this is primed and ready to almost paint, you know, so why take these pieces off, or, you know, anybody have
Yeah,
any thoughts
I
on
mean, maybe one just broke off.
Yeah.
And then they,
It could be that simple. Like
yeah.
Yeah.
they kept on breaking off, so let's just take them off. And you know,
Yeah, screw it.
Did they build over it? Because there's a lot of stuff down there. Could they be
No.
underneath some stuff? This is an intermediate
No,
stage,
they're-
and they're putting more stuff on it.
They're not there on the current.
They're not.
No, these are, this is kind of the same level that
Okay.
that is current. But I mean, that those pieces show up in a lot of pictures of it. So
They got two pilots in the bottom there, two passengers rather.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
so correct me if I'm wrong, Felix. I just remember Guy Cohen always saying you have to start with the cockpit, right? It's pretty much.
I don't know. Maybe he may. I don't remember him saying that to me. But what he said is study the 5 or 6 behind the scenes photos
Yeah.
in the in progress shots, and yeah.
Or wasn't he always saying that to you, John?
Yeah,
Start with the
he
cockpit?
said, I mean, we've got to give a big shout out to Guy, because the reason me, Felix, and Chris are building a Slave One now is because of the hard work he put into making it possible for us to do it. And
Yeah.
I don't think there's anyone on this earth that knows more about the Slave One than Guy. So, but he said everything goes from building that cockpit first. You can measure off it, everything sits in the back. I mean, yes, there's a photo that shows, is it Ease holding it?
Yeah,
and that was the first, you can see that's the first thing they started.
I don't have that one. Somebody sent it to me. I know that. I'll
I
find
sent
it.
it to you last night.
Yeah, you did. I'll find it.
But that's what I started with mine anyway. So, but
Yeah, and I brought,
And it makes sense because my cockpit, the lower one, it's hard to fit well. So if it's like off half a millimeter, like every 2 centimeters, it'll bite you in the ass later.
really.
yeah, exactly. It needs to be right first of all.
Like it took me forever to I don't know, to get this distance somewhat right.
Yeah,
Hold on, Felix. Let me
The
put you on
distance is too
larger.
low. Yeah, this like have this parallel and wide enough without having to modify this outer shell. It took me forever.
because I made the rear plate of mine flat at first, but the bottom rear back wall is actually more forward, isn't it, than the top? It's like a step up.
I'm not sure what you mean. Also, I'm still only in frame.
The wall at the back behind FET is further behind than the wall at the bottom lower where the passengers sit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
Chris
yeah.
helped me find
It's a
that.
step down.
I'm trying to find these pictures, so don't mind me.
Nothing about it is simple, is it, to build?
Mm.
And as you said, without Guy's the perfect pulse, like this would be insanely complicated. It is anyways, but it would. Yeah, there it is.
Wow, that's a good shot.
So, and
Yeah.
also that still got the two passengers in there. Look.
That acrylic. Yeah.
Yeah. And that shows that picture on the left there. That shows the wings being one,
Yeah.
all in one, or close.
And
Underneath.
that's the concept you meant.
Yeah.
hmm
Is that still around, John? Have you seen that?
I have not seen it, but I can take a peek around for it.
That'd be amazing.
Some very interesting like proportions.
I
It
really
looks
like that.
small. It almost looks like felt, doesn't it? Like
Is it foam?
fuzzy.
Yeah, foam. Huh?
Might be foam.
Yeah.
And the wings look like like daggers almost.
Yeah, blades.
On top of a sketch.
Well, that looks more like the lamppost.
Does actually shaped a lot like it.
Mm.
It even has the curve of the lamppost back here.
Yeah, there's one more picture of it that's in the Steve Sansweet book with a side profile to it.
So yeah, I brought my armature along just to show kind of what it's.
Heavy.
It is heavy, yes.
It is heavy.
Yes, it is. This well, I mean, this is the bulk of the weight, though, right? For the and basically
Pretty much.
the cockpit sits right here,
Yeah.
and then doesn't the curve of the cockpit fit right in that section right there?
No, it does not. At least mine does not go lower than
No.
this. No.
But I have seen pictures where it does go lower. Remember, John, we were looking at those?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
it actually curves
mine
down
went
below.
wrong.
Yeah. I'm getting excited to start mine.
And shout out to Felix as well for doing that armature. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, again,
Who'd ever,
from guys' drawings, right?
Yeah.
But
who'd ever thought these would still be popping up after? How many years ago did you make them?
6.
6 years now. Yeah.
Yeah, 6 years. Marv, what do you think?
Yeah. But yeah, I mean,
It
well,
was
I mean,
celebration, the second celebration in London, where I did one for Guy already, I think. And
Okay.
after
okay. Well, here he's working on the wing well, right? That looks like the wing well he's working on, or
No, the wing wells are in place, I think.
oh yeah, they are both of them are there. I wonder what he's working on then.
maybe the front cover for the cockpit.
Okay. I don't have a lot of pictures of in progress builds here.
Yeah, I only know of these 6 or 5.
Yeah. And the cockpit alone is a masterpiece on itself. It's
Mhm.
just
Yeah.
there's so much that went into it that you really can't see that well. Or can you see it a lot better in person?
This is one of the things for me about the Slave One pictures. One of them has like a banner that's reflected into the window and it curves from left to right. And that I always was like, what the hell is that? Is it something in the model? It was just a reflection of something in the room, but I can't remember what it said. But you know, it really threw me off.
That's in the Chronicles book, I think.
Is it?
Yeah.
There's 2. There's one where there's only the reflection, and then there's one where the ILM 1970 whatever is still on top of it. But when it's gone, it's really confusing.
But like all this detail in the cockpit, and you don't see it obviously in the movie. But
Yeah, this gave me nightmares.
yeah,
And then the 2 strips on the side that like join join the cockpit to the outer.
yeah, that's what I'm.
with all the
That's
panel thingies.
that's what I'm scared of. Like I'm gonna start building this cockpit, and how you figure out like this is scary. To be honest with you.
Yeah.
I honestly can't remember how I found the outer like dimensions where to
Well,
cut.
you better try to remember in the next like 6 months.
I will.
Because you got a responsibility, my friend. But
Yeah, I will do like a subscription service for
yeah, what do they call it? Patreon?
an assembly guide.
Yes.
It's totally off.
Guys, I see a lot of comments, and I'm really sorry. I haven't been very good at posting, taking notice to them. Trying to just get as many pictures. I have a lot of pictures of, Felix build and the actual piece when it's finished. Not a lot now when it's being built, but I always like to look at the background and see what's on the ground. Like if there's a piece or something I'm missing that I can gather some information.
One of those pictures, the cloud car was on the shelves.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
I've
these.
Sorry,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I've never noticed a dish on the table before.
Yeah, on the floor, on the table. Yeah.
Yeah.
John,
does
did
anybody?
that fall off already? The dish on the original?
Well, they haven't added any detail at the top, so that's probably just smooth.
That, the dish is still on, John, right?
Currently?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And there were some photos from shows where it's like dangling sideways.
When I saw it in Tokyo, and parts of the wing, half of one of the wings was broken off, and the dish was in, but it had a fair amount of damage to it. So, but it's all fixed.
I was amazed how much damage these things get when they go on these road trips. Like,
Well, going all over the world, it's like.
yeah, I mean, you would expect them to be treated like museum pieces, but apparently they're more like when I move my IKEA furniture from.
They do, they pack them and everything, but they go to different. It's not the same handlers that are dealing.
I know, yeah. It's just local, right? Yeah.
There's no person present that like puts up the stuff or takes it out of the boxes.
Yeah.
It's always the same.
There kind of is, but there's the continuity you would like, and it's funny because these do really well. Because I've seen some other stuff, some other film miniatures that were sent on tour, and they came back and they brought me one of them, 4-foot model. The only thing holding it together was the wiring. It was just smashed to pieces. And it was like, wow. In contrast, the Star Wars stuff is treated like gold. These were just destroyed.
Does anybody have any thoughts on what these are? What they're for? Like why they're stuck in there?
I always thought it was just to keep the lights in, some kind of locking pin.
Yeah, I think it's cosmetical, and it looks like a igniter, whatever. What kind of call it?
Because they look like they're cut off here. Like they look like they're cut there.
They bend down. There's like a small box where they
Oh,
go through, and I think a set screw on the side.
okay. And then they don't have the hoods on here at the present time.
Chris, do they talking about those wires that go through the lights? Is there holes in the armature? I can't remember. You've put it there.
Yeah, there are.
Oh, right.
Yeah, they're right. No, there's not.
On the side, there is for the copper pin.
Yeah.
There is 2 holes.
All right, I'm missing them completely because they're not here.
Oh, that's interesting. They may.
There's holes on the other side, on the bottom, or unless these are flipped. No, they're not flipped because they have the beveled edge on here. But no, there's no holes. I'm gonna have to drill some.
I remember holes on mine, I think.
There were.
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe I have a very, very early one.
Maybe, I don't know. We can look at that later if you want.
Yeah.
Or at some point.
Yeah.
I made a drill guide for that.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Or you send them to me and I'll drill. It's probably
so yeah, these these are these Leopold or House or
They look like
Marsicaro?
Maybe not.
It's
Other
Mörser
than that,
Karl.
what's that?
It's Mörser Karl. You like
We
the
do
German R.
We do this all the time, right, John? What's that? Gnushu?
Yeah, Gnushu.
Gnushu.
Gneisenau?
Yeah.
It's a Gnushu.
Oh, that's a tricky one, though.
But
And
yeah, that's the only thing that's really missing here, that ended up finished.
If you look at the wing to the left, that's also interesting. It looks totally different later
It
on.
does.
Yeah.
That's pre-cutting the Antex, probably.
Mhm.
also the two fins on the side of the upper wing.
Yeah.
The light bulb's not in yet. Yeah.
No. It's all primed.
I love this
So-
logo in private.
This stage, yeah.
Yep.
That was during COVID as well. He's got his mask on.
Yeah, look at this one. Rolling Stone lips.
Yeah. But there you can see the cloud car to the top right there.
Yeah, bulls.
Yep.
Yeah.
I want a small one. I want a small cloud car. I don't want a big cloud car. I want a small one. Nice small one. But all right. I think we can move on to Felix's. Yeah, Felix, let's start here. So, really fun story. John brought this. John was actually. Why don't you show pictures of this? This was the first time that we had met Felix, right?
Non-visible. Yeah.
What's that? Not visible. Yeah, it's story. It's all about me. Remember? But
It's my live stream.
it's my live stream. Oh, Marvin, you're too funny sometimes. But literally, we were sitting in. We went to Celebration. Yeah, all three are me. We met up with Felix in the parking lot just to check out his Slave One. He brought it,
Yeah,
so
that
we
was-
could check.
that
Yeah,
was
we all sat out there for like I don't know, an hour or two, just checking it out. And
That was the
talking.
best part of Celebration.
Sure
Was
was.
being in a car park.
yeah, this was a lot of fun. It was such a random moment, but a lot of fun.
Yeah. And
It's
everybody's
also nice to
upstairs.
see It's also
What's
nice
that?
to see the progress you made in that year, Felix.
That's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's more of the kit parts visible, but there's also not that many anyway. On the,
It was
No.
kept in that box, wasn't it?
yeah. It like
You said, yeah, come and see the Slave One, and he pulled it out of a raggedy old box.
yeah, but this box was probably used to ship way more expensive stuff, so it should
Oh, really? Okay, right.
have been.
No musty foam in it.
No
No.
You need that.
scientific equipment.
I don't know about you. I don't know about you, John and Marvin, but when we saw, I was just like, ah.
Oh, absolutely. I was
I
drooling.
wanted-
This is
I
a
wanted
funny
to-
photo because it looks like I'm like point here and I take a photo.
But it wasn't. We were just talking, and somebody.
Yeah,
I don't know
like,
who.
I make it look like I'm showing something.
Yeah, it's one of those ILM photos that they're not really painting, but
Yeah.
they have an airbrush in their hand.
Yeah, that would have been even better. Just bring an airbrush. Just
No hose.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no hose.
exactly.
But yeah, this was definitely a highlight of that show, was meeting you and just sitting in, like, the whole celebration is going on
Above us, basically.
right above us. Yeah, this is a car park underneath.
There was, yeah, and also the empty spot right next to me. That was
Yeah, it worked perfect. Yeah.
It might have been one of the only empty spots in the parking lot, I think.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. There you are.
That's me.
That's you.
Yeah, that makes a huge difference with the wings.
Yeah.
And as you can see in the photo, maybe, or here even better, I didn't cut the like I didn't separate the front and back of the skirt.
Okay.
I just cut right around the main bar.
Oh, okay. Here, yeah.
Yeah, because this makes it so much more stable.
Yeah. When I saw this, I'm thinking, man, that bar is really long.
Yeah,
But then when
It
you
does-
put the wings on, yeah,
It's almost as wide as it is long, right? It's like square.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's actually, I think it's exactly like 24 by 24 almost, right? Inches.
Yeah.
Pretty close.
some
Felix
metric.
is thinking, well, what's that? What's that in millimeters? Yeah.
To be fair, I'm probably better in inches than, or quite similar.
Feet and inches.
I'm better in my head in inches, but centimeters are way more accurate. Way more.
Yeah, get away from that picture of me pulling that face. I look like a potato.
Oh yeah. Look at those lips, man. John, you should have been there. We had a great time.
Yeah.
Were you at?
You in metric now, John, or you do imperial mostly?
Me?
Yeah.
Imperial. Well, it's funny. I've got an internal measurement system that's pretty close to millimeter. And for me, it's like I work within that scale. I work up to around 15. It's funny, though. It's just a mental thing, but it's close to millimeters. But that's my own internal thing. But, it's funny for a lot of the documentation for conservation stuff, everybody that uses millimeters for that.
Mm-hmm.
Were you at this celebration, John?
I went to Celebration, the one that was in Indianapolis, where they sent us out there to talk about the model shop, and they didn't give us any money for food. We were there for 3 days, and nobody was working. I got there with $100 in my pocket. And the first night we went to this Japanese place, and everybody buys dinner and stuff. And they're like, yeah, let's split the bill. I'm like, the hell I'm splitting the bill. I'm paying for those 2 chicken skewers and that cup of rice I got in the water. That's what I'm paying for. When I got back to San Francisco, I had 2 pennies left. And the third night, well, it's funny, the third night there was a woman named Kathleen Holiday, and she used to be the handler if you got sent on these shows. She wasn't our handler, but she happened to be there. And Lauren saw her, and because Lauren and I flew out together. There were like 5 or 6 of us. Don Bees, Nelson Hall, and Kim Smith, Lauren, me. And Lauren said, I saw Kathleen, and she invited us to come to the show. They had the Indianapolis State Orchestra playing Star Wars. And he said, we're going to go to dinner afterwards, and she'll pay. And he's like, so we got to go with her. I'm like, great, because none of us have had a real meal in 3 days. So we go to the orchestra thing. They play the music. It's great. It wraps up about 11 o'clock. And she says, everyone, we've got the restaurant across the street. They're going to keep the kitchen open. So it's going to be great. And so we go over there, and there were like probably 15 of us, Ian McCaig, and I don't remember who all was there, and Anthony Daniels. And we get over there, and Anthony kind of fritzed out, and I don't know what his problem was, and he left. So the rest of us went in the restaurant, and we're like, we get the menu, and I'm looking at the menu. I'm like, I'm starving. I'm like, there was a prime rib, and there was like a ribeye steak, which was smaller. I'm like, I don't want to be greedy. I just want something to eat. So I ordered the ribeye. And, the guy took the orders. A couple minutes later, he came back to me, and he whispers in my ear, he goes, oh, we're out of the ribeye, so I recommend the prime rib. I'm like, okay, fine, the prime rib. I just want a piece of meat. I want something to eat. And then he's gone again, and he comes back a couple minutes later, and I see him whispering into Ian's ear across the table. I'm like, what's going on? And Ian goes, everybody, so the kitchen staff actually left. So there's nobody here to cook. And I'm like, no, we got so close to having food. And the waiter goes, well, I can make some plates of appetizers for you guys. We're like, yeah, that'd be great. There are 15 of us. He brings 3 plates of appetizers. There are 15 of us. And so everybody gets like 1 appetizer, and that was it. And he goes, I could make you guys some dessert. I could do chocolate cake with ice cream. We're like, great, yeah. 3 plates with 3 pieces of chocolate cake and 3 scoops of ice cream. There are 15 people there. So yeah.
Royal Rumble.
That was my first celebration. And the only other one I've been to is the one in Anaheim, and that's where I met Felix.
Yeah.
That's a Mandalorian experience. And that whole thing I found confusing, because I thought the Mandalorian experience was the whole thing. Because I was downstairs of this building and I just stayed there. I was in this dark hallway for 3 days. At some point I had to go out, and I realized it was that whole damn convention center. I could not believe how big it was. Christ. Stunning.
And the exhibition was like further away, right? It was
it was in the next building.
And
a lot of people didn't even know it was there to begin with.
The Mandalorian thing?
Yeah, it got around by word of mouth that it was even there, because I didn't know for the first day or two, and then I heard about it, and I was like, "Oh, we got to go see this," and I had my sons with me, so yeah, I didn't know you were there, Felix.
Yeah, that's funny. I didn't know you were there either.
Yeah. Well, back then I really wasn't. Was I doing modeling? I don't even know. But yeah,
that wasn't that long ago.
No, it was.
You were doing modeling, Chris.
Was I doing modeling? Okay. Yeah, I don't remember. I didn't remember.
You were taking, because the Ahsoka ship was there, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's when we saw the Ahsoka ship, and we were all flipping out about it. Like
That's so funny because I stood there the whole damn time. I stood there watching the models, and about once a day, all these people come through and be like, "Oh, Razor Crest, oh, Light Cruiser, and the Starfighter," and nobody'd say anything about the Ahsoka ship, and they didn't promote it at all. And about once a day, I'd hear somebody go, "It's the Ahsoka ship," and I was like, "Holy crap! Somebody knew what it was," you know?
well, that was me. I knew it was the Ahsoka ship.
Every time.
One of those. Yeah, I did. I took tons of pictures of that. Say, John, me and my
Yeah,
kids
you
were
did.
checking that out.
Me and you were like,
And-
we're going to build this. It's amazing. You'll
We're
love
gonna
it.
build this thing. I need to build this thing. Yeah.
But then watching you on the tested video, John, building it now might be a bit.
Yeah,
out
we're
of
still
our
gonna build
skill
that.
set.
So
Yeah, I would like to. I would like to do that too. It's really.
yeah.
It's also mechanically interesting.
John,
I think it's a
asking
nightmare.
what we all love it, and you're like, oh, it's a nightmare.
Well, it's because that wing. There's a lot of backlash in that wing, and we just weren't sure if it was going to repeat for the motion control passes. And we built that model got built about a year before we shot it. So it was a year of sleepless nights wondering, is it going to work? Is it going to work? Is it going to work? A year of that. And we finally got it on stage. And it's funny because Dan Petrasky is the machinist I work with, and he does the 3D printing. We don't do a lot of 3D printing, but he made that whole mechanism. And I said, and he works for a company that manufactures industrial gluing machines. He's not in the film industry. And so I've pulled him into, when we were working with the Enterprise at the Smithsonian, we helped refurbish the 11-foot model. I had Dan manufacture all the engine mounts for the light system, all that stuff. He made all of that goes inside of it. And then I got him involved with the Ares, the 2001 model. And we had to design an armature and retrofit it into that thing. And you had very limited access to the interior of that model. And it didn't have much of any support. And now it's bottom mounted. But all kinds of stuff he had to design and we put into it. And so he's never done stage support. That's not part of his life. So we're getting ready to shoot that Ahsoka ship. I said, you're coming in for 3 days of stage support. Every time that wing moves, you're going to be there. So, and after Celebration Anaheim, I took the model down there and I'm setting it up. And the engines, the very back of the engines is 3D printed. They're falling apart. I'm like going, Jesus. I mean, this thing's disintegrating. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not doing no more 3D printed parts. And so he came in for stage support. And you have to remount the model periodically. And remounting them, you are really manhandling those things because you're having to pull it off the mover with the rod in it, go get it on a table, break it down so you can get the rod out of it, reposition everything, reroute the wiring, hook the rod up, and then go back out and carry it out and shove it back on the model mover and get it all locked down. So they take a fair amount of physical abuse. And at the end of 3 days, she's like, I get it. No more 3D printed parts. I'm like, yeah, you get it now? Things falling apart in your hands, And it worked. It worked. We did 2 shots with the wing rotation. It worked for every pass. It was great. And I saw Filoni last Friday, and I said, are you going to want to shoot that ship for season 2? Because what I was hoping was you're going to destroy it by the end of season 1. He goes, oh, yeah, we want to shoot it. I'm like, oh, no. So I don't know if we're going to shoot it or not. But yeah,
I know it showed up in cartoons before.
It did. And I found that really confusing. That I didn't watch the animated shows.
Yeah.
And so, we did the Razor Crest, and that was, I've got my story about that one. But then we were doing the Light Cruiser, and Randy Cooper, at some point, we're like halfway, we're building the cruiser, it's like 5 feet long, we're like halfway through it. At some point, Randy Cooper posts this picture on Facebook, and he's like, this is what I'm going to build next. And it was a picture of the Light Cruiser, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? He's got our design somehow. And I was freaking out. Next day, I called the art department. I'm like, what the hell's going on? They're like, it was in the animated show. I'm like, it's out there. I'm like, nobody told me that. So then the Ahsoka ship was the same thing. We built it and everything, and people they were like, oh yeah, it was in the animated show. I'm like, really? I keep thinking this stuff we're doing is kind of a secret, but it's not.
Well, it was in the animated show.
Tales of the Jedi, wasn't it? Dooku's ship.
Yeah, that's just what I was going to say. Dooku, we thought it was Ahsoka, and then later, right afterwards, it was in that Tales of the Jedi, and Dooku was for Dooku, and we're like, oh, it must be for Dooku because it's the exact same thing.
Well, it's weird. That design is from, I think it's from Attack of the Clones originally, I think. And Doug had a sketch of it. The wing didn't rotate. It had 3 engines, and the wing was vertical. That's how it's mounted. And it was kind of like, it looked like a moonfish. It looked like, a semicircle. And I built a concept model of it that's about 14 inches tall. It never got finished. And so when this thing came up, when we did the first shot of the light cruiser, when it went over the camera, we sent that footage down to LA, and Filoni wrote me that the next day, and he goes, I want you to build this other ship for me. And he sent me the artwork of the Jedi shuttle. And I wrote him back and I said, I know this design. I've already built this thing before. It's a little different, but it's the same ship. And so there's an iteration of it. And that concept model is still kicking around, but Doug did that original drawing of it. So there is a lineage to it.
It's fantastic that you already built it.
So going from sitting in a parking lot to this beauty that at its current state, this looks fantastic, Felix. This really does.
Yeah, it makes me quite happy.
Yeah,
It's beautiful.
it should, my man.
It is. I mean, it's really complicated. And again, I have to say that without also all the score lines in the pulse from guys, phenomenal work in preparing this. It would be so much harder.
But you've also, I remember you saying about the scribe lines, which just give me nightmares. I can't see any of your mistakes on there that you've managed to sort of.
Yeah, you can theoretically see them, but practically they're already cut. I mean, the skirt is all went really well. Only mostly the wing wells, they were really tricky. I can't even remember how I did all these, like the ones along the circumference.
That stuff is so hard.
Yeah, that's.
What do you use it for a scribing tool?
The Tamiya one.
Okay, I don't know that one.
The normal with the thumb screw where you can retract the blade.
Huh.
I have these small Chinese. Hold on a second.
It's just, Felix got me to buy it as well. It's
I'm gonna get that as well.
I've got the ones that Squadron used to sell, and it was just like a dental tool with almost like a hook.
Yes.
It's a slightly V-shaped hook.
I bought this at some point.
Oh.
I don't know. You can barely. It has a set screw, and you can adjust the depth. But this gets, and here you can just set the distance.
I have to get that.
Yeah, it's good, Chris.
That's pretty cool.
I think it's like a $3-5 piece on AliExpress. It's called the Galaxy Tool or whatever.
Yeah, I'll have to.
And I found it very, very useful for all the lines along the bottom of the skirt, for example. Basically, everything that is parallel to a curved part.
What was it called?
I think it's called an edge scriber.
Probably, yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Etch.
Yeah.
They just call this Galaxy Tools.
Well, there's one on eBay called Equidistant Parallel Scriber.
Well,
It's exactly what you got there.
That's probably they come out from the same factory, I guess, right? So.
Yeah, Galaxy T14A02 Equidistant Parallel Scriber.
Gotta get that.
Cool.
Yeah, I've got a black one that.
I like it because this is also a little wider and it has a groove for the. You can see it has like a V groove for the knife, but it actually comes in handy to keep it parallel. If it would be a flat surface and you go along a curved line, it would start to wobble. But since it has the cutout in the center, it stays parallel.
Okay. Definitely need that.
And
I've already cut myself on it.
Have you?
Yeah, me too. The pin in there is really, really,
Really sharp.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
looks really great, Felix.
Yeah.
And nobody know. If do you notice anything on the cockpits?
What?
Because if you go back,
Yeah.
the lower one is way too close.
Like here?
Yeah,
Okay.
but apparently nobody notices it. So
Why is it?
Stop pointing it out to people, Felix.
yeah.
Why
that's
is
stupid?
why is it why is it way too close? Did you make this
Oh.
area too large?
You have asked the guy who built it. I have no idea. I know. I think that like the hull or the cover that sits on top of it should be a tad shorter.
Okay.
But I already scribed a line along, and I just figured it's not worth.
Yeah.
How far along are you now? I mean, how much is there still left to do for you? You think?
The wing wells and the bottom, I think.
Yeah. But the bottom is that actually very difficult? I mean, I know it's layered a lot, but is it difficult? Is it a difficult build, or is it just layering kit parts?
It's just layering kit parts.
I think it is not as. I'm a little scared of not getting the depth right of where the parts sit, and also the Antex parts go from that sit around the engines. They stick into the wing wells.
Let me bring that up so people are seeing what we're talking about here. I have a good shot of the bottom from, I think, I don't remember which book this is from, but it is a fantastic shot of the bottom that is so helpful when you're building this.
Oh yeah, from Sculpting a Galaxy. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's one that is a little earlier with like the two braces in.
Yeah,
Oh,
you can see
really?
the cutout
That
for the
is
Intex.
super useful
Yeah.
because you can see where the Antex parts are cut.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to send that to me so I know. So
I mean,
see
you can
that.
kind of see it here. If you go up,
Mm-hmm.
there's like T-shaped cover. Yeah, this, and
Yeah.
then you have the two clamps that clamp the main bar.
Mm.
It's right below. You can see the Antex part, and this is
Yeah, here.
this is.
I did send it to you, Chris. It's from the Chronicles book.
It's just
I'll get
it's
it.
cut right along the edge of I think one of the air intakes.
Okay. And John, you had said the bottom is less colorful. Like this looks pretty green. Is it less
It's
green?
a lot of it's not painted. It's like
really?
they shot paint straight at it from underneath, and a lot of it's unpainted styrene. It's surprising how much of it's unpainted.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like what areas? Like we talking like underneath?
The whole bottom. It's like it kind of got hit from the front, and then the rest of it just doesn't have paint coverage. So a lot of styrene underneath there that's just raw, which is really surprising.
I mean, if you look at like a little bit from an angle, then you see the styrene.
Yeah. Well, when I've been dealing with it, it's been bottom mounted on a base that's got a mirrored top on it. That's how it was in Tokyo. And so you're looking up at the mirror because you can't really get up underneath it to see it. But being at that angle, you could see all this unpainted plastic. I was like, wow, I was really surprised.
So you think it was just painted head on, maybe with like
That's what it looks like. Yeah, it was all assembled, and then it got hit with a color, and a lot of it's just got no primer, and it's just raw styrene.
So these aren't like different green. Like this isn't like darker gray. And
Well,
this
there's some of it that's darker green. Those parts are darker green than styrene is. But there is paint on it, but it's just there's a lot of it that's not painted.
I have some side pictures of the bottom. I can show that later on once I get to the actual film miniature. But that's interesting because I mean, looking at this picture, it looks like it was a couple stages of painting, like the white and the gray and the green. You know, but
well, it's a lot less finished than I expected it to be. I was surprised.
Okay, that's interesting.
Was anything of these bottom bands, were those still removable, or was that all just stuck in place and just?
I don't know, because it was it was intact mounted, bottom mounted. The damage I was repairing was the wing. So.
But yeah, we'll go back to Felix's build. It just shows. So I want to see like the kit parts in it, and then we'll get to the filming miniature. We're already at an hour. Get that. We're
Just
almost
shows
at
you
that.
how long you can talk about the Slave One.
It is rich with history, and it's just there's so much to talk about with it too. I mean, so much is not known. You know, it's like a mystery actually, and it's also something that's kept quiet. You know, so
Yeah.
but like the cockpit, we going through some like. I never realized that these parts of the wings were yellow. When you posted
Yeah.
those,
It's just one of the
payloader, right?
AMT, whatever truck.
Is it the payloader? No. The dump truck, right?
No, not the dump truck.
Oh.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
Sorry. I look it up when I need it, and then I immediately forget.
So Felix, let me ask you a question. Now the bar that goes through is one solid bar, right?
Yeah.
So how the heck are you getting these? Are these slide? Do these slide on? Do you have them
Yeah.
made so they can slide on?
Yeah,
Okay.
you have the two tubes that go on the side,
Hmm.
and that's basically the wing, or I built the wing around this tube. You can see it here below
This here?
one. Yeah. No, this is where the wing swivels around, but to the left and right you can see this aluminum tube.
Okay. Now, when I built my resin one, I struggled with this distance right here. That's where I
Yeah,
was
I
like,
This has
yeah,
given me nightmares also.
yeah, still.
Like the 232 part, how far it sticks out.
Yeah.
And I made the wing removable. Hold on a second. I don't know. Can you see this?
You know, good.
I just made it. I just made it removable with
Okay.
just added a
Yeah.
magnet, like this.
Yeah, that's what I did too, but I put magnets up here.
Because
In
I
that
figured
part.
I kind of want to be able to take off the wings.
Yeah, because it's difficult to position them.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Did you just break it?
I broke it. It doesn't matter.
Oh no.
Luckily, it's not painted yet.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Interesting.
Hey, I made these small. I have like tiny shims. You can see
Okay.
So I can basically just stick it on
Okay.
and not show it on camera.
Yeah.
That's when it breaks.
Well,
Yeah.
Chris, you made him break his Slave One.
That's okay. He can fix it and tell me how he did it.
Yeah.
Super glue. I can tell you now. Super glue.
Yeah.
Super good. But like, how often do you get to see like this in the Sandcrawler in kit parts? I mean, you don't really get to see what it looked like. They don't show. There's not many pictures out there that show these being built as kit parts. It's always like primed or painted, right? Am I wrong about that?
Well, it's funny because I mean the still photo guys, because I came in '88, so Jedi had been 5 years before, but the still photo guys came through pretty regularly and tried to snap shots of everything everybody was doing.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be cohesive. We wouldn't get every step of it, but a lot of it's they probably got it somewhere.
Yeah, I would
'Cause they
think.
were pretty thorough. We had 3 or 4 guys that were just still photo, and then over the years they got rid of the whole department ultimately. But
They
back
really
in the
need
good
to.
old days.
They really
So there's
need to
nobody
go-
taking photos now, or just you guys?
Well, there's nobody nobody's taking pictures. I mean, we're taking pictures when we're building those ships and stuff, but that's me and Dan in our garages doing that. So it's every now and then I'll tape my phone to a back of a chair and set the timer and run over to the model and, take my airbrush with no hose and make it look like I'm working on it.
With no hose, right?
No,
No hose. That's
No
a
hose.
prerequisite. No hose.
it's
No.
air.
But yeah, you don't. There's not many archive pictures. I mean, out there that show these things in kit part form. I have a lot of pictures from you, Felix.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Me in my living room.
There's some scratch.
I wonder what happened there. I don't know. It's just some art.
Yeah, this looks fantastic, Felix.
And then you can see the magnets I use
Yeah.
to fix the pipe and then glue it.
Okay. The wings are just. I mean, Slave One doesn't have a lot of colors, but the wings actually do. Like some of them is red too, and aren't there Ferrari parts pieces?
Yeah,
Yeah,
technically.
there are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has the red overspray, doesn't it, from the skirt, I think.
Good job, Felix.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Thanks.
simply.
I could sit and look at the kit part pictures all day long. Even more so than the painted pictures. But all right, so I guess we can move on to. Well, let's just see. I'm going to show this one. So the cool thing about this is I didn't realize this. Why isn't this coming up? Oh no, the cat's out.
Mm-hmm.
Pictures.
Now the cat is out of the bag.
So let's get to the actual filming venture. Identities. I have a bunch of pictures from identities, basically.
Hey, here's a question.
Sure.
How many of you guys actually went? Did you see Identities in person?
No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did.
I did.
Okay. There's an R2D2 that was in that, and I was looking at it and I'm like, that's something weird about it. And what was weird was it's missing the 1-inch aluminum ring at the base of the head. So the head's an inch shorter. It looks like a hemisphere. Yeah, it looks really weird. And I was like, that show was out there for 10 years like that. And I don't think anybody noticed it. And I'm like, he doesn't look good with the short head. It's just not right.
Oh, I have to look at that.
Take a look at the pictures. You'll be like, oh yeah, it was right. It was missing.
It's one of the Kenny ones, right?
What's that?
I think it's one of the two-legged Kenny ones.
It's a two-legged. Well, it's a Kenny head, and the body's fiberglass. So, but it's definitely a Kenny head.
Didn't they do the fiberglass one for Empire?
Yeah, they did fiber. They had the White Horse Toy Company making them, and they made them for Empire and maybe Jedi too. But
Yeah, is that the R2 there?
Is it the R2 here?
that's the back of him.
Mm-hmm.
If you could see a little bit higher, you'd see that missing ring.
Is it as messy in person?
What's that?
The paint work. Is it as
all that spattering and stuff? Yeah.
Yeah.
See all the spatter up on the green, on the dark green over the wing.
Yeah.
But it works. It's a great paint job. It looks really good.
It does.
So, what came first? I suppose the paintwork for the helmet came first before the slave, the ship.
Yeah. I would
Yeah, you
think
got
so.
your chicken and egg thing, and you know which one's the chicken and which one's the egg.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see the kit parts behind this. Well, there's white
Yeah.
for the Harrier ship, right?
Yeah.
But that was primed gray in the one picture. Are you able to actually see different colored kit parts in that, John?
You know, I can't remember specifically. I just remember being really surprised that it was only kind of hit from the one side.
Okay.
That the color, it didn't get a great paint job on the bottom. Such a great paint job on the top. And the bottom looks like it got just barely got it.
Hmm.
But that's
I
the
would
neat
love to
thing
see.
about this stuff. It doesn't matter. You put it on screen, it looks great, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, to get all these kit parts in this little skirt, and not much of it sticks down, other than these.
That's the mistake I made when I built my Nyson one. The kit parts were hanging too low at the back.
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of, to like ruin it by not getting the depth right.
Yeah.
There's R2. You still can't see his neck.
Still not sure whether
It's just-
the dish sticks out or not.
I think the dish does, doesn't it? No. Right there, no. And just this little bevel of the,
The engine.
yeah. I'll
Also,
tell you.
it's crazy that Guy and the other guys ID'd all these cockpit parts. I
Yeah.
think more than 2, maybe.
I look at those pictures and I can't make heads or tails of anything in there. I love this. I really do.
I ID'd one part on the lower deck on
Yeah.
the dashboard, and I was so excited. And I said to Guy, I think I found something. And he said, no, we've known that for years.
That's always how it is.
I think it's the flak feeling part that you found, right?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Shh.
the small pedal.
You did find some sandcrawler parts,
It
though.
was such a glorious moment. I still remember it for you.
Yeah.
Does this, I don't know if you remember or not, but this has like a tint of green in this area, John. Is it on? I don't know if you remember or not, but
I'm not sure.
there it is, missing the neck.
There you go. And there he is from the front. It just looks so weird,
Yeah.
but nobody picked up on it. It's like, really?
Yeah, hold on. I'll bring it up, John. Put the,
Oh,
see that?
he just looks a little bit like he rides the short bus.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I've never noticed that.
I didn't notice. I've been looking at him for a couple of years, and I finally picked up on him. Like, something's wrong with this thing. And that's what it was.
It does look way filthier. I don't think I made mine filthy enough.
You can see all the dents in the dome from when it fell over.
It's pretty beat up.
Yeah.
But that head is all throughout the first, at least until they sell them in front of the sandcrawler. That's the head that's being sold, and that's before it's been beaten to death. And then you go back and you look at the Jawa sequence. And what's interesting is the holographic eye that's on the front of the face.
Yeah.
If you watch him, there's a gap between the holographic eye and his little red-blue eye. It's got the little blue rectangle around it. There's a 1/4 inch of aluminum between that red-blue eye and the holographic eye, and then there's a 1/4 of an inch on the other side where the blue panels, the rectangular panels. But if you keep watching it, that 1/4 inch on the right where the blue panels are will go from a 1/4 inch to 1 inch, 1/4 inch to 1 inch. It keeps jumping back and forth. And during the Jawa sequence, he gets shot and it's the 1/4 inch, and then they cut to the Jawas for their expression. Then they cut back to R2 and it's to the 1 inch, and it keeps jumping between the two different R2s. And when they're on the surface, when they land in the escape pod, they're in the desert. There are the 3 blue rectangular panels to the right of the holographic eye. Then there's a square panel. Then there's a rectangular panel that's just a perimeter with the 2 dots above it. Then there's another square panel. On the planet, both of those square panels are silver. But after that, the one on the left becomes blue. So it's interesting to watch him keep changing from shot to shot. It's like, So that head, though, is the primary one that was used in the first third of the film. I haven't tracked it through the rest of it, but That head's got a lot of history.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny when they in the Model Builders Club, someone always asks, "I want to build the most accurate one." Like, yeah, which one? Which scene?
Yeah.
Take
There's
this
a
like
million.
man.
Multiple ones.
He is all over the place. Like the holographic eye, the lens, the little part of the hood on it.
Yeah,
It's black in some shots. It's silver in some
so-
shots.
yeah.
I mean, it's just changing constantly.
this is one of my favorite parts ever. The plain reading lamp.
What?
The eye, the holographic eye, is from Vickers, Wisconsin. It's just the reading light from the ceiling. It's such a simple idea, but it works so well.
Is
Yeah.
that which thing are you talking about?
He's
The-
talking about the R2.
The
I don't know.
eye, not to distract from the slave one.
Yeah, that's why I was like, the
Holographic
eye
eye.
on the slave one.
Yeah.
Is it the red blue eye?
Yeah. No, not the red blue. The one that the holographic eyes.
Oh yeah, that's from the airplane. That's the
Yeah.
overhead light from their plane.
Yeah, this is such a great idea.
I love all the staining on this beauty.
There's a lot of mold on the wings, right? I noticed.
There's
With
the paint.
mold?
The paint it breaks down.
Yeah.
And it turns into kind of. It looks like almost like miniature cat litter. It just kind of it disintegrates. It's kind of interesting because it's the Flocal Railroad color, and it just there are a lot of places where it's just breaking down like that and it just turning into powder.
Like here.
Yeah.
Well, and those white patches up above that and that gray, see that
Right there.
up there, right there. It's
Interesting.
and this one predominantly it's got some in here and it's got some up inside under the green part on the right. There's some up in there, but the guns really degraded, which was weird.
Mm-hmm.
And almost the entire body is in great shape. The damage, the paint damage is on the wings and the guns in particular.
Yeah. There's a lot of pictures of that breakdown.
Yeah,
We can see that a lot of times.
It's almost like it's blooming out of the part. You know what I mean?
it's just the paint breaking down and then it's peeling. It's all these little pieces.
Is that what's happening with like the ion cannon?
With the what?
Ion
Yeah,
cannon?
Same thing.
Yeah.
It's happening on a lot of them. It's just the paint's 50 years old. And
What do you do in that?
everything.
But
What
you
are
think
you doing
you think it's the paint, or is it like the weathering that was applied afterwards, and that there's still some kind of weird interaction after all these years?
That's a good question, and it's hard to know. It's kind of interesting. Just the guns are so affected, and the rest of the body is in really good shape, and you see it a little bit on the wings. And in some places, there are places like on one of the Mon Calamari ships where all of those like drop tanks, halves of drop tanks, where they're glued onto it. It's just terrible where they're in contact, and it makes me think: is that from zip kicker? Is that residual chemical reaction from the zip kicker? I just don't know. And it's interesting. You find it. Some things have held up really well. I've seen some stuff from Phantom Menace that's doing it. It's just falling all apart. The bulk of that stuff is still in good shape, but there are a couple of them that's like, why is this one disintegrating? And all these other things are, they look just like they did when we made them. So it's interesting.
I've just replicated it, John, on the Endor dish with the push pins that go around it. I used sawdust.
That's kind of what it looks like. It's kind of what it looks like.
Didn't you do it on the hospital ship too, John?
No, that was pigment. But
Okay.
I used hairspray to fix it.
That was the picture. It had that banner. I can see the banner reflected in the canopy.
Oh, back here.
Yes.
That one.
Yeah.
And I always thought that, I was like, what the hell is that?
Yeah, I always thought that as well.
Yeah. For years, I was really thrown by that. I'm like, some kind of signage in there.
That is weird. But like this, I'm sure I speak for a lot of people. A lot of people, this is one of their favorite ships, easily.
Yeah.
Not only just because it's Boba's, but it's just a cool looking ship. I mean, I love these. Whatever they did with these wings, with the yellow and the reefer white, I love that color and how it the yellow bleeds through.
Yeah.
And it's totally different. Like like you have the red, the green, and then these white yellow wings. It's just thinking of doing that is brilliant.
There's a wire hanging down there. You can see under the.
Yeah, it's always been there.
This one?
Yeah.
Well, you know, it would scare the hell out of me to have those halogen bulbs on.
Yeah.
They get so damn hot.
Maybe you can answer this, John. Is this lamp here? I know you didn't really work on the bottom, but these are metal. Is this one metal?
The
I
shroud.
can't remember. I did have to do some stuff to it. I had to clean some stuff up in there. I can't remember if it's metal or not. I would imagine it almost has to be. Those
Yeah,
bulbs,
Yeah.
those bulbs are so fucking hot. It's unbelievable. And we used one of those on Star Trek Generations. We had a shot where the champagne bottle hits the Enterprise. It's in the opening and it's christening. And so we built a section of hull that was like 15 feet square, and we had a panel or hatchway, and it had, you know, USS Enterprise B, blah blah blah. And we took one of those halogen bulbs and we put it at the base of that hatchway to illuminate the words, and that's where the bottle was supposed to hit. And we would turn it on right before we go, because what we were doing, we had Nelson Hall. We had 12 Dom Perignon breakaway bottles made. And I learned the hard way that you put room temperature water into those or they explode, and because they just disintegrate. And so I was putting room temperature water and shaving cream in it, and then putting a cork on it and fake, you know, I went over there was a Mexican place next door. They had these burrito wrappers that were textured foil. And I was taking those and spraying them with this brown, it was paint for vinyl car seats. I'd spray it with the brown paint, spray it with spray glue on the inside, stick it on top of the bottle after we put the cork in with hot glue, and then trim it off and take a gold paint pen and fake the Dom Perignon, you know, logo on there. And we had a label. It was Dom Perignon 2265. So Nelson was pitching for the softball team, so we made him a silicone bottle. And the piece was probably about 12 feet off the floor in the stage. And so Nelson would go out and take that silicone bottle and throw it to try and hit that door, so we hit in the right spot. And so when we do a take, we turn that light on right before he would throw. And as soon as he was done, we turned the light off because it just got so hot. And we went in and we did a take, and then we went over to look at dailies. And somebody turned it on while we were in dailies, and it burned a big black place into this white door. I mean, we're damn lucky we didn't have a fire, but I mean, it melted and burned everything around it. So looking at those bulbs in that model, I'm like, that would be terrifying to me to turn that thing on stage. It's like, it's
So
really
glad we
scary.
have LEDs now. Yeah.
Yeah. But when we were doing Dagger too, we had halogen bulbs on some of the airplanes, and we put these glass tinted pieces of glass over them so we could have color. And if we had them on for any period of time, it would melt that glass cover over the bulb, and the whole thing would run over the filament, and it would stop working. You'd have this molten glass thing with the filament kind of sticking out of it. I mean, they didn't last long at all. There's just so much heat. So,
I wonder if these actually the lights still work.
I don't know.
Can you go back, Chris, to that picture of the you just had up? Literally, it had a shot of the lower cockpit, and it's got ribs inside it.
This one. I was looking at that and I'm thinking to myself, Felix, that's pretty close there too. I don't know how off you really are.
Could you put it on full screen?
Oh, I'm sorry, I don't have it on. I guess I should show you guys what I'm looking at.
I'm spot on. It's perfect to me.
Yeah, look at those ribs.
Yeah.
On the inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is U channel. I think.
So they even even detailed the inside of that.
But like I said, Felix, I don't know that you're all that off.
Yeah, no, I kind of made it work, but it took me some.
Yeah. Interesting.
Oh, Chris, I want to get back onto the slave one now.
Well, let's do what we were going to do and then jump on it.
Damn commission builds.
We got to get your slave one, all the parts on, and then we got to paint them. Not your slave one, your sandcrawler.
Yeah, I know.
But so yeah, that's I mean other than I have a bunch of other pictures that from identities. They're a lot of the same. I don't know how much different. There was a couple of them that I wanted to see, like the bottom of it, like because it's pretty up in there. There was one that showed a really good shot of C3PO's butt, but no, there was one that showed the bottom laying down. I don't remember. I don't know. That wasn't at the identity. They didn't do that, but just to show like
On the
the only
mat,
thing.
it's on the quilted cover.
What?
The picture of it face down
Yeah.
on the quilt. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not identities pictures. I don't know why I was thinking that. But the only thing that is sticking down below, guys, is just a little bit of these lamps. But I love how the scarring shows through on this black.
Can we share that
Oh
picture?
God!
This is like Slave One for the blind.
Jesus, I'm an idiot. I keep doing it. Oh man. Sorry. I'm talking about all these cool parts and you guys are looking at each other like what's this guy
like
doing?
what the hell is he talking about?
There you go. Can you see it now?
Yes.
I'm talking about the scarring underneath the black here. Like, I mean, you really wouldn't think to do that. Like this, I don't know. I like that kind of stuff. And they're not degrading much on here at this point.
Yeah, you see some of it though.
A little bit, yeah.
That ramp has the access panel, isn't it? Well, or is it an access panel, or is it just a way of buttoning up the bottom, Felix?
Mine is closed, but I think it is. You can open it, maybe to mount it from the back.
Here.
That would make no lower.
No. On the ramp.
Down there.
Go down.
Yeah.
Down the
Yeah.
ramp.
No.
Oh,
Either
the screws
this,
at.
There was a
and also the upper underneath.
Upper part.
This too, right?
Here.
Yeah, this square with like the 4 tiles. I think this opens too.
Yeah, that's where I'd put it. You want to be nodal as much as you can. So if you rotate it, it's not doing something eccentric.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. Well, does anybody know how they made this part? Like, what is this?
I might just cut pieces of styrene.
Oh, okay. So you think they're just cut pieces of styrene just laid on top of each other?
That's how I
Looks
did
like.
it.
Yeah.
Okay. But they don't stick out past.
No,
Are
they
they
don't.
recessed?
No. Yeah, there's a piece cut out,
Okay.
and then they like.
Because the whole
layers.
is like 2 layers, right? So they cut it
Yeah.
out of the top layer, and then they had the bottom layer to glue it on.
Okay.
That was quite tricky also to do, because I like so that the spacing is even and they don't, as you say, they don't stick out too much.
Do they overlap at all?
They do, yeah. If you can
Yeah.
see it from the bottom.
Yeah.
Actually, I used a photo from the bottom, which was a bit more helpful to see like how much they overlap.
Sorry to see you go, Marvin.
Yeah, have to go, guys. Sorry. Please continue.
Right.
Nice talking to you.
See you,
next
Marvin.
time.
With your kitty.
Yeah.
Here we go. I love these pictures where you can see the bottom of it.
Yeah.
They turn out to be quite like they could fool me a couple of times because it's obviously mirrored.
Yeah.
And then I took like a small screenshot of something and then got totally confused because it's mirrored.
Yeah.
The other time.
I
Here's
stop.
the-
Or if I do a small screenshot, I immediately flip it. But on this, you should be able to see the bottom of these feather thingies.
Yeah, right there.
So if you go
On
down,
the other side. Look at the mirror.
On the reflection.
Yeah.
cut it.
Down here. It's cut off. Maybe in another picture I have. Wow. Even the wing bells. Just so
Yeah,
much
that-
going on.
There's so much going on. this
The
is
plug
quite,
for the lights.
So many colors, so many. All these kit parts, and then you got these Molex
yeah.
pieces.
And you, as I said, like the Entex part sticks in underneath,
Hmm.
and this I find quite tricky.
Wait, so you have the Entex brake part here, right?
Yeah, and then below you have the lower this to the left. You have the Entex,
Oh yeah, yeah.
the
The
body
bumper.
part that
Yeah.
goes around the main engine.
Yeah. This here, right here.
Yeah, and it sticks into the side, and yeah, it may just fall into place, but I didn't cut the casts yet.
Yeah, that's a scary prospect. Oh, you have casts. I plan on cutting up an Entex.
Yeah, that's wow. Yeah.
Dumb.
I
That's
don't
what
have
it is.
one. So I don't know.
Chris is rich, you see.
I don't-
No, Chris is not rich actually at all. Chris is definitely not. There's the what we
Yeah,
were talking about
you
earlier.
can see the layering. This I found quite helpful to figure out the spacing.
Yeah.
Which Intex kit is it?
Entex
The Porsche 1/8 Porsche 935 or something.
1/8. Yeah.
It's huge.
Wow, it's big.
Yeah, it's very big. The box for that is larger than the Sandcrawler is. Like I put my Sandcrawler on
Jesus.
top of it, and
Yeah.
it sticks out the edges on all four sides, about I don't know 6 inches on all four sides.
Wow, it's funny because we had some 1/8 scale cars that we used on Men in Black and Jurassic World and War of the Worlds, and it was like there was a Corvette, there was a Camaro, a couple other things you could get, and we had a number of them. They of course got really destroyed, but
So there might be an Entex in there as well. A Porsche.
Yeah.
Yeah, have a look, John, because you could have hit the big time.
They're only $2,000. This is a nice
shit,
cool
yes,
swap.
it's $2,000. Yeah,
Yeah, it is.
Lord.
That's why you don't want to mess it up when you cut it up.
I have castings and I still don't want to mess it up.
Yeah, I'm going to practice.
Yeah, the
on
way they
casting.
slide, the way you have to cut it with the grooves in to slide in where the brackets are to hold the wings down.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it just cuts right next to the air intake, I guess.
I'll tell you what. I have my Nyson one that I built and I sold it, and the guy hasn't picked it up yet. And I'm kind of hoping he's waiting. I know why he's waiting to pick it up, but I'm kind of hoping he delays a little bit so I can look at this thing while I'm building this one, so I can, it just having it in front of you makes it so much easier
Yeah.
than trying to remember. Oh yeah, I did it this way. Oh yeah, I did it that way.
Well, that's why I put an order in for the Merlin Models one, just so I've
Yeah.
got one built, and I can, it'll help me do the scratch build
Did-
one.
Did Merlin Models get hit with a cease and desist?
No,
No.
Okay,
that
I
was
saw
the
something the other day.
That's what there was MIC or MYC.
NYC, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I just saw they had a N1 Starfighter MIC. It was like $1,800 or something like that. And so they're unlicensed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. But I love seeing these. I really do. Now you have me so curious, John, on the paint job for these things, the underneath. I'm dying to see this. Can we come to the ranch and see it?
I don't know where the hell it is.
We'll find it.
We'll find it.
Good
We'll
luck.
dig
It's
it
like
out.
that scene at the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's crate after crate after crate. Yeah.
It's still there. It's still at the ranch.
I'm not sure.
Oh, well,
Yeah, I'm
we'll
not
find
sure.
it.
There's that interesting bit on the other. You just put your cursor around it, Chris. On the other side, there's a hole, isn't there, Felix?
Yeah. Here.
Yeah, there's a
No.
mounting screw behind it.
No, the completely the other side. Sorry, Chris. It's the non-hero side. It's got
Oh.
that hole.
Did I show a picture of that? Here?
No. It's on the
Oh, yeah.
side.
Yeah, you mean do you mean the square hole?
Yes, I do. On
It
the
is
nicer model you built, Chris, it's covered over. But on the
There's
other
a
side,
kit, yeah, there's a kit part over it.
There's a kit part over, yeah.
The,
It's missing now.
the boat. The
Yeah, I
fast
saw it
boat.
earlier. There.
There you go. I think it's a fast boat Pasca
Yeah.
or whatever it's called. That's
Yeah.
the part that goes on top.
And you
But
can see how
you can't even get to the mounting point through there either, can you? It's too far up. I wonder what that was for.
this hole.
No, that square, the whole green square was you could take out.
Well, there was a kit part over top of that fell
Yeah, but
off.
I'm wondering what's underneath
Oh,
or what the hole is for.
because that's the original color, and then they misted it.
Yeah.
What's going on? What's that little white area? Is that it looks like it's cut into the styrene? Is that right on top of the box? Right there. What's that?
Yeah.
It sometimes looks even like it's aluminum, like as if there was like a plate glued on with a tiny screw or something.
Yeah.
Let's see.
That's what I thought it is, but
I know I have other pictures of it somewhere. That's not it. There. It sticks out.
Huh.
Does it look like it sticks out to you guys?
No, I'm not sure.
no, I think it's recessed
Okay.
because there was a kit part over it. If it sticks out, and here it doesn't look like aluminum. Here it looks like styrene.
Styrene.
The inside the wing wells fascinate me.
Yeah,
Yeah, and nothing fits when you're trying to build it.
No,
yeah,
it
yeah.
does not. Especially if you don't I built this thing, and then after it was completely built, John's like, "Oh yeah, you got to shave a lot of the inside off," and I'm like, "Well, that would have helped to know," because mine's like a 1/4 inch thick, and I had to cut off so much of this, the parts that were stuck up in there.
Yeah, the nice and wingman is really thick.
They're really thick, yeah.
Is he still in business?
No,
Not
Think
sure.
so.
Or I think he's working for EFX. Or last thing I think
Yeah.
I saw was
Yes,
he
he
was.
is. Yeah,
is he still?
yeah.
And what are they making? I never see anything from them anymore at all.
Nothing.
Didn't they do
Like helmets
some-
and lightsabers? I think.
I thought they did some Ahsoka stuff.
Oh, I know the Bo-Katan
Oh,
helmets
Bo-Katan, yeah,
have started turning up.
close enough.
So here's a
There you
good
go.
shot
So
of.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the bear paint, and under
Yeah.
that Intex bumper looks pretty
Mhm.
there.
Because they're afraid to paint it because it costs so much.
Yeah, you can see
Yeah.
they use a strip to connect it to the wheel arch of the Intex, the bumper to the wheel arch there.
Yeah,
Say that again. Oh, right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good to know. I found this incredibly difficult when I
Oh,
was
I did. I messed mine up
messing with
as well
mine.
the first time.
I was like, how the heck did these go in there and then they go down?
I've
Yeah,
got
yeah, those-
two Nyson models.
it's one. The roundish part on the back is also an Entex part.
Yeah, it's Entex
Yeah.
pipe.
Mm.
There's a lot of Entex on this, and there's not a lot of Entex on many other pieces.
They're quite cheap kits to build the Slave one, apart from the Intex, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a lot of common kits.
Yeah.
Besides the cockpit, all the
Yeah.
bottom stuff is pretty
Yeah.
easily accessible.
I mean, there's a few F1. There's the Brabham, whatever they're called.
Yeah.
They're quite expensive now.
And the Harrier is like $100, but
That
it's
sounds
like
cheap.
It soon adds up.
It does.
You're into
the
7 or
Intex.
8 grand before you've spent on the Intex, I think, the amount of money you need
Yeah,
to buy for
I mean,
those kids.
the Intex is kind of a showstopper. Like $2,000. That's
Yeah.
like, shit.
Yeah.
You need a resin cast at that.
Yeah. I want some resin cast just to practice on. 'Cause I always wondered what this metal rod was going across here
Yeah.
I think it's to connect the wings so they move.
together.
Together.
Nice.
Okay, good theory.
There's a small cutout in the clamp for the main bar, right left
Okay.
to the left of your mouse cursor.
Right
Yeah.
here.
This I think
Yes.
cut out for the
Not on mine.
no. We
I got
didn't. There's one on one side and on the other one doesn't have one, I think.
Oh no.
If I'm
Could look at this stuff for hours.
you will have to.
That's a really good shout, Felix. That cutout that makes perfect sense. That the wings work together and that bar moves down,
Yeah.
Yeah.
finds its home inside that groove.
And I think it has this cutout only on one side, not on the other.
Right. How strange.
Yeah.
This is so much. There's so much going on with the Slave One that you don't realise until you deep dive into.
Yeah.
I wonder
Cool.
whether this will actually work with the bar when you move it.
Yeah.
I think if you move one wing, it will not be stiff enough. I think you have to move the center thing.
Right.
Maybe it was even to be actuated somehow. I mean, theoretically, you could just pull a string.
Yes.
Yeah, because when I was working on it, you could just rotate them by hand. There wasn't any mechanism attached to them.
Oh, really?
Are they still like movable quite well?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they were kind of, one of them was kind of just in pieces.
Yeah.
It all moved independently. But yeah, but you could move them. And it kind of
Two brass rods go inside on the top of the wing, so the brass rods, the two rods go up inside each other when you move it.
Where's,
Chris, can you find a picture of the on the top of the wings?
Yeah. The brass.
That's what always worried me. They're
Like the pistons.
the pistons,
Yeah.
do they go in and
yeah,
out?
they do move.
Oh wow!
It's funny. I mean, but there's a limited amount of movement, and I didn't want to push on anything too much. I just don't want to snap it off. But it made me wonder, though, the aluminum rod that's going through that, it almost looked like it was threaded inside, and it made me. Is that the side mount?
Yeah, they are.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's an opening and for the
Yeah,
side
they're
mount.
wide open on the side. Yeah,
Yeah.
right there. There's the metal. Yeah.
They were covered with
F1 parts, aren't they?
F1 part. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
I think it's a brake disc or something.
It is.
Yep.
Yeah. A Brabham again, I think.
Mm-hmm.
You should get it back.
I made it removable. Let's see. I mean, now it's easily to remove. Now it's easy to
Yeah. Don't remove too much of it, Felix.
We're gonna break another piece off of it.
Yeah.
I just printed like a clip,
Oh,
That's
yeah.
brilliant.
so you can just stick it in.
Fantastic.
Like for these things, that like the normal FDM 3D printer is so useful because you get the part 20 minutes later.
Yeah.
And it won't snap like glass.
Yeah.
I have such a thing about 3D prints just because Gentle Giant did a lot of print work for like Rogue One. And they did all these study models of the U-wing and some other stuff, and every one of them just this warped, twisted mess. You know, and they haven't it hasn't held up at all. And they're a pretty high-end company, so you know.
Yeah,
and then
they've got the good printers, right? They got
the fragility of it. And then I see these people online that are like, "Hey, my PVA parts or this PLA, my model's disintegrating. I've had it sealed and painted. It's in an air-conditioned space, and I think there's an organic component to it, and it's going to fall apart."
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
3D prints, I'm always like, yeah, I just try not to deal with them at all. But
Yeah.
They're not going to be in the archives later.
no, well, it's
No.
funny that Mandalorian experience. I was, they had all these full size speeder bikes, and I was looking at them in the morning one day, and I said, God, those are really great. And they said, go walk around the back. Walk around the back, and one of them been rammed by a forklift, and it's it's like the skin is like maybe 20 thou, and it's got the honeycomb inside of it. It's nothing, and those things there won't be anything left in 15 years. There won't be anything there.
No.
Yeah, I like it for like tiny or small functional parts, or to get an idea of something.
Yeah.
Size.
It's cool technology. I just like I said on Ahsoka, that was just coming apart. And when we built the Skeleton Crew, I built that ship is all built entirely by hand. And
We
it was
haven't seen
interesting
that
because,
ship yet.
well, it's on the poster, and
Is
they
it?
showed it.
Okay.
Yeah, they showed it at Celebration. The director and the writer were both there, and they stood up behind it. We waited for them on a Sunday, and they came in.
Oh.
And we had the
wow.
blue screen lit up, and they stood up behind the model and went, hey, we're not there today because we're here at ILM shooting the miniature. So, and I never heard word one about it. It was like it didn't happen. I'm like, maybe they didn't show the footage. I don't know. But
Check that
We'll
out.
check that poster out. Yeah.
yeah, it just made molds of everything I needed, multiples of them, just cast them. So,
Wow.
This is just, I could look at all these pictures. I could look at these pictures all night long. I have. Well, I guess that's a good spot to end the show. We've almost gone 2 hours. I think we could talk another 2 hours easily about Slave One. There's so much to talk about with it,
Yeah.
and it's such a fascinating ship and people freaking love it. Like,
Yeah, it's cool.
it is so unique and so different. See, now this makes me think that all three of these pieces are lower than the skirt.
Yeah, this is. I don't know. I've looked at this so often. I'm getting confused.
No, I think that photo's been taken quite low because you can see underneath the wing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You can see up in the wing well.
Chris, if I wanted to, when that plug that sits inside the wing well to light the engines,
Yeah.
could you wire that still to have it a vintage one working with today's 12-volt LEDs?
I don't see why not.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, how many plugs are there? Did
There's
they
one.
use those for the lighting? Those
Yeah,
molar plugs?
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're-
Well, there's three lights. I mean, LEDs DC, so it's positive and negative. I don't know. I don't.
There's 4
Did they
pins.
use? Yeah, no, there's 4.
There's one each side, isn't there?
Yeah,
I mean-
on both sides.
So
I don't
does
know.
one light do one engine, the other plug does the other engine,
Probably.
and then there's
They
the
could
other light,
turn
that's the other strip that goes along the middle. Don't know.
They could turn them independently on and off.
yeah, you could have one common ground and 3 power leads, so you could operate 3 different things.
Hmm. I love the weathering inside here. Just the orange and that's just so cool. So cool. So very cool.
Yeah.
I'm ready, John. I'm ready. Let's do it.
Okay.
Let's do it. Let's break it out.
Okay.
But everybody, thank you for joining us for the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you for coming on, Felix. It was awesome having you on. And obviously, you're working hands-on with one right now, so you have a lot more knowledge than we do at the present time.
Yeah.
And so yeah, and we'll be calling you.
I hope Guy gets back on his too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd like to see that.
I think he dropped it.
He did.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, that's got to be the oh shoot moment.
It's a slave 2 now.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you, John. We really love having you on.
Yeah, it's
your
fun. I
knowledge.
love doing this.
your knowledge just on all of this stuff is invaluable. We could eat it all up.
To have
And
have someone on the show that's repaired this and handled it is incredible.
Yeah,
incredible.
that's true.
And it's just fun to talk to you. And thank you everybody for joining us. We are going to continue this series for sure. We have Y-Wing coming up probably sometime soon.
Wow.
And we're going to do Sandcrawler for sure coming up real soon. And before I forget all my stuff, before I forget everything about it. And next Monday night, we have Wonderfest, kind of a recap show. Where a couple people that were at Wonderfest with me are going to come on, and we're going to talk about how amazing that experience was, and just it was incredible. If you, I would love to see all three of you guys there next year. It would be incredible.
I'll try to make it.
Yes, I really. If you don't come, Mr. Simmons, I'm going to strangle you. So,
Remotely.
Yes. So, if anything, just to see your tidy whities again, that'd be amazing. So, but yeah, we're gonna.
Oh.
What's that? There's a long story behind that. There's a long story behind that. Well, that's pretty funny, but yeah, we're gonna keep going with the series, and this is a lot of fun, and we're gonna try to do, like I said, we're gonna do all of them, a lot of them. Some of them don't have as much history, some of them don't have much more. In fact, John Simmons will have to talk about an idea for another one after this. But thank you everybody for joining us. It was a lot of fun.
It's just like, you have seen that Y-Wing is for sale at Heritage?
Yes.
Yeah, the gold leader.
Yeah, gold leader. Yeah.
Yep.
I already put my bid in.
It got passed over pretty quickly,
Yeah,
right?
for some reason they kicked me out of the auction.
It was like a blip and miss it. Yeah. But yeah, that we downloaded all those pictures for future reference.
Yeah.
They're already in our files.
Yep.
That's as close as we're gonna get to it.
Yes, pretty much. All right. Thank you guys. Don't go anywhere. Any of you. We'll talk more afterwards. But thank you guys for watching the show.